2 minutos dejo a la gente entrar y ya está.
Oh, no. Okay, we are live now.
Oye, Pedro, ¿y cuánta gente ha participado en las sesiones anteriores?
Entre 35, 40, llegó algunas a las 45, pero hay gente que va entrando. O sea, al inicio siempre un poquito menos, pero después va entrando más. Voy entonces a dejar entrar los primeros. Muito bem, boa tarde a todos e bem-vindos ao quarto webinar da Semana Reuse do Pacto Português para os Plásticos. Esta semana tem como objetivo abordar e discutir a reutilização como um dos caminhos para promover a transição para uma economia circular dos plásticos. O webinar de hoje, intitulado Reutilização numa Lógica Business to Consumer, é dedicado ao exemplo de uma startup chilena que tem vindo a implementar um modelo de negócio baseado na reutilização da embalagem, com resultados muito positivos em termos de sustentabilidade económica, social e ambiental. Antes de começar, explico o formato da sessão, como nas anteriores. Portanto, esta sessão tem uma apresentação inicial do orador, que é seguida de um período de perguntas e respostas. Nesta segunda parte de perguntas e respostas, os participantes poderão colocar questões ao orador por escrito, utilizando a funcionalidade bate-papo, ou oralmente, solicitando a permissão para participar através da função levantar a mão. Os vossos microfones estão desativados e na fase de perguntas e respostas, quem quiser colocar questões, nós iremos ativar o microfone. A sessão de hoje será realizada em inglês e terá uma duração de 45 minutos, terminando às 4 menos um quarto. E passo agora a introduzir o nosso orador convidado e a entidade que representa. Temos hoje connosco José Manuel Moller, o fundador da Algramo, uma empresa social chilena que quer revolucionar a maneira como consumimos todos os dias. Desde 2013 que José Manuel se dedica ao projeto Algramo, com a visão de transformar a forma como as pessoas consomem, eliminando o imposto da pobreza e baseando-se nos princípios da economia circular para eliminar as embalagens descartáveis. A sua visão e espírito de liderança impulsionaram a Algramo para um modelo de negócio de alto impacto, escalável e financeiramente viável, que produz benefícios sociais, ambientais e económicos. Em 4 anos, José Manuel promoveu a utilização de embalagens reutilizáveis a mais de 350 mil clientes, da base da pirâmide, e promoveu uma cultura de reutilização nas comunidades onde a Algramo opera. As taxas de reutilização nessas comunidades passaram de 10% a 85%. O modelo de negócio da Algramo chamou a atenção de algumas das principais marcas mundiais, tendo como parceiras marcas como a Unilever e a Nestlé. And now I will switch to English. So, José Manuel, thank you very much for being here today to share the great example of Algramo with us. And I'll leave the floor to you to make your presentation. Thank you.
Great, thanks. First of all, hi everyone. Sorry for not speak Portuguese. I will try my best in English, but I'm pretty sure that it would be better in English than in Chilean, that is not even in Spanish. So I'm gonna share my screen now. Everyone is seeing my screen now? If you would confirm that this is okay, that would be great. Yes, perfect. So I'm José Manuel Moller, the CEO and founder of Algramo. And I'm going to tell you first the story, what is behind of this company, why we are here, and then what is next into Algramo that actually is really related with Europe. We were discussing before this start with Pedro that our plan, they're moving us into Europe next year. So I'm really excited to be here today and to be part of this discussion. So our aim as a company is to keep packaging into the economy and out of the environment, as the circular economy has been pushing. And we're trying to solve three main problems. The first one is the center one, and the original one that why Algramo exists is what we call the poverty tax. The poverty tax happens when the families, they don't have enough liquidity or money, and they're forced to get the smallest packaging and presentation. In the, for example, in the mom and pop stores or neighborhood stores, that in Latin America, we call them almacenes or bodegas, people are forced to get the smallest one. So it could be a sachet of shampoo or a small bottle of dish soap or any small presentation. When they're doing that, they're paying around 40% more than the families that they have enough liquidity to get the largest package. The other problem that we're trying to solve that is really linked and connect with that is all the excess of packaging and plastic that is produced related with that. So for example, when someone gets a small presentation of dish soap to wash the dishes, of what they're paying, almost 30 or 40% of that cost is related with the cost of the packaging itself. And that's lead us to the third problem that we're trying to solve. Many companies, I'm pretty sure if there's someone here working on FMCG, I'm pretty sure that their business is to sell a product, not a packaging. The packaging is the way that we have today to bring product to customers, but the packaging itself is just a way to get to customers, not a product itself. And what we're trying to do is to reduce and eliminate even that cost to the brands to being able to offer a cheaper price the product to the customers. So what we have created, we create a concept that we call the packaging as a wallet. So what means a packaging as a wallet and how we came into this? Before having this solution, Algramo actually is a 7.5 years old company. In the beginning, we were selling our own white label products with a reusable scheme without a dispenser. So people was giving an exchange of different packaging. And actually, to be honest and quite funny, we were doing a copycat of Unilever products here in Chile, powdered detergent, and actually where it comes the name Algramo, that means by the gram. That actually I think that in Portuguese makes sense, Algramo also. But in the beginning, we were working with our own white label products. We was with a returnability scheme, and we were doing that for 5 or even 6 years. But in 2018, something happened that was really important, affect me and affect the company. That the International Panel of Climate Change announced that we have until 2030 to reach the Paris Agreement goals and not 2050. So they cut out 20 years. And at that moment, with Algramo, we reached break-even. This was operating really well in Chile, but I realized that we were doing it in a really small scale. So Chile as a market is really interesting for piloting, but it's quite small. And the volume that we were moving was important for us, but in terms of global impact was really small. To give you a sense of context, Chile produced 0.25% of the global emissions. So even if all the Chileans who were vegans and zero waste couldn't affect that much the planet. So I decided at that moment to switch how I was working. And I decided to scale this as fast as possible and as more aggressive as possible, because we had a formula that was proven to switch consumer behavior. In the beginning, 6% of people was reusing the packaging, but we had an economic incentive to bring back the packaging. And after a couple of years, that numbers reach up over 80%, and today actually is 85% here in Chile. But to scale up this model, we understood that we need to collaborate who in the beginning was our competitors, for example, Unilever. This actually is a real Unilever product bottle from Chile. And also big brands and retailers, and I'm pretty sure that many of you have a huge commitment on be part of the solution of this huge problem that we're having with plastic. most of the companies that are doing this commitment, but one thing is to do the commitment, but the other thing is to have the solution. And as humans, we know that we have the willingness, but to find a solution, we need to collaborate with others. And in that sense, I decided to share and open the Algramo model and to share this technology and open up to convince the biggest player in the world to switch to refill, understanding all the challenges that it represents. I understand that there's a huge concern on quality, on food safety, on logistics, payments, price, marketing, etc. And what I'm going to present you today is something that we think that could solve most of those problems in many categories. And we are implementing today with some big corporate partners and actually retailers. So what I mentioned that because the first concept that I create, this is what we call the packaging as a wallet, was created based on something that I was thinking, what is the need for a customer to carry a plastic packaging? So I take the example that in Chile we have, and I'm pretty sure that in many cities they have, we have a transport card that you pre-charge and you pay the metro or the bus with that card. And people take care of it all the time because they use it for paying the transport. And for example, if you're in the street and you find a card somewhere, you're gonna pick it up because you know that you can use that for paying, and even could be pre-charged and you could use that money. So we have an economic incentive today to carry a plastic piece that has a chip and enable us to pay transport. So I take that experience that happens in many places, and even you could say that credit cards and debit cards works in the same way. They're a plastic that has a chip, and we have the economic incentive to take care of it. So we add the same technology in the beginning. For some products are RFID, some others are NFC, but we add a chip into the packaging. We relabel it. Omo is the Unilever brand and the biggest laundry detergent brand here in Chile, and it's co-branded with us, Algramo. That Algramo means that this is a smart packaging. That means that has this chip. And this allows us, one really important thing for brands is to have the product traceability. So we know who is purchasing this, when, which amount, etc. And we are sharing that data with our partners. But also that solves a huge problem in terms of quality assurance, in terms of not cutting the supply chain and understanding where is the product, etc. And the other thing that we create, it's an app. It's an Algramo app that people download it. And today they can do two things. One, they can pre-charge their account with credit, debit, and then will be with cash. And they can put money into that account. And the account is linked with the packaging. So now we have the packaging linked with our wallet. So now we can pay with the packaging. And what does it mean? That each time that we are refilling with packaging, that it's connected and reading our account and discounting balance from our app. And also the other thing that we are doing, that is really important, today we are designing this solution not only for the high-income millennials, vegetarians like me. We are designing this for 90% of the population that make decisions on price. And this is why that this solution today is on average around 20% cheaper than average price on a retailer. So we're trying to offer a solution that is more sustainable, but also affordable for the customer. Today, we have many solutions that they're for like high-income millennials that they're willing to pay a premium to be sustainable. But the challenge, at least from my perspective, is how we could bring this solution being cheaper. That's the only way to scale this as aggressive that is needed in the next 10 years to reach this commitment on plastic. So we will need solutions that they are cheaper, but also sustainable. So that's the challenge, and that's what we are trying to solve from Chile, and now it's scaling up. So each time that someone is purchasing from us, also we are communicating how much plastic they're saving. So for example, today, and then I will show you a really short video to give you a sense of how this works. But each time that someone is refilling a Unilever product, we tell them how much plastic they're saving. And actually we translate that number into the equivalent of plastic bags. In Chile, we have like a year and a half, this plastic ban. And now everyone knows that the plastic bag is a problem. But what I'm saying that the rest of the product has much more plastic than the plastic bag. The real challenge is packaging. So we are translating how much plastic they're saving into the equivalent of plastic bags. So for example, when today someone is refilling Unilever product, they're saving more or less the equivalent of 32 plastic bags. And based on that, we are giving them a deposit into the packaging, into the chip. Not even the account, the packaging has money. And we're giving them more or less like $1, US$ each time that they're refilling Unilever product. And that money is used for the next time to repurchase the same product. If you lose your packaging, you're gonna lose the deposit that we give you into that bottle. And if you find a bottle onto the street, you can pick it up and use that money. Same as the card for the transport. So we're giving you an economic incentive to take care of their packaging and to reuse it. That's the whole concept. That doesn't mean, and to clarify from the beginning, that if you find someone else packaging, you will be connected with someone else's wallet, just related with the deposit that the chip has. So the first model that we launched with Unilever, that actually we were quite lucky to have it in this context, is a home delivery. So what we are doing today, we are bringing the dispenser to the home of the users. This sounds quite crazy, but that's what we are doing. We're bringing 2 dispensers on an electric tricycle for home delivery for Unilever products. So now I'm gonna show you a really short video that shows how this works. The sound is not important, but this is how this works. Are you seeing it, no, Pedro? Great. So this is the electric tricycle that is driven by one of our sellers. This is how the app works. So Omo, again, is the brand of detergent. Quicks is the dish soap, and we're gonna launch pet food with Purina. So now it's setting the amount that is needed. When do they need it? So they're saying how much plastic they're gonna save with that purchase. This is how we are opening our electric tricycle that has these 2 dispensers. We're gonna be doing home delivery only with some categories, not with all the products. So it has the RFID chip behind the labeling that is co-branded, and how people use this. So it's like in a gas station. So for example, now it's purchasing 2.5 liters, and then we're doing the refilling. So we're doing Quicks, that is the dish soap, and also we're doing Omo, that is the laundry detergent. So what we're trying to achieve are 3 main things: a convenience price, avoid single use of plastic, and have this economic incentive for repurchase. So this was the really short demo to show you how this tricycle works. So we launched last year the first unit of this to understand how this works. And in January this year, we launched 8 of these units with Unilever here. And now in August, we're gonna launch 3 of these units with Purina for pet food. We see this home delivery solution useful for some products. And actually the categories that we are working around this are the ones that, first of all, they're heavy to carry. The ticket size is quite high, and there's some margins. On the opposite side, I don't see, for example, a tricycle for rice, because rice is a commodity, the margins are really low. And for that, we have another solution. But we're gonna be scaling product that they're quite heavy, and people, they're facing some problems to carry out. For example, pet food. In Chile, people, the average is purchasing 15 kilos each time that they're visiting the supermarket. So with this, they avoid to move 15 kilos to their place. And actually, we're avoiding a packaging that is not recyclable in Chile, at least, because it's plastic with oil. So it's really challenging to recycle that. This is the Purina pet food tricycle that we're gonna be launching now in August. And the other thing that we're gonna be launching this second semester, that sadly I'm not allowed to mention who is gonna be our partner, but it's a big global corporate partners on retail in Chile. And we're designing dispense solution also for the supermarkets, because we know that for some products, the home delivery is gonna work, but for most of them, the retail is gonna still be in the place where people prefers and wants to purchase their product. We are designing this to make the supermarket much more efficient, because this is moving in bulk. Even the product doesn't need to be in store, could be in the warehouse of the supermarket, for example, and you can be moving the product from one place to another, change the replenishment cost, labor cost. Also, it's impossible to steal from the system. What we are designing this is to be a solution to be implemented in as many retailers as possible. We are implementing today these also payment methods that could be adapted for retailers, because we have this packaging as a wallet technology. But for example, in the beginning with the retailers, we're going to also print a label that shows that you paid that, how much paid, and it's read by the retailers. So we are adapting our solution for retailers. And we are going to be implementing this year in 4 big supermarkets here in Chile. And then the idea is to scale it up, and then I will cover that, what's next for us. How our packaging looks like. We have a branding that is always co-branded. The main part of the packaging is for our partner. We don't want to have the people thinking that Algramo is the brand of the product. Algramo is the way how people is consuming the product. It's not the brand of the product itself. Today we have these 3 products, but this year we're going to be launching 20 products, especially with our retail partner. We have technology for different categories. Today we have for all the cleaners, dish soap, whatever that you can imagine, laundry detergent, floor cleaner, softener, etc. Pet food, that actually says dog food, but also works for cat food. Food in general, like grains, rice, lentils, chickpeas, and beans. We have some different solutions for other type of cleaners, like bleach, different cleaners. And we are working also in a big project for beverages, like coffee and soda. And for that project, I cannot show you yet the images, but I can describe what we're doing. Also, we develop and patent a sanitization station. That is really important, especially for the food safety regulation. So before doing a refilling of some categories, people is going to be able to sanitize their packaging. And we have the traceability of that also. So for example, we could say that no one could dispense different categories if they haven't sanitized their packaging with our system, because the sanitization station also reads the chip. So the chips allow us to keep having that traceability. So how are the journeys? From one side, we have the customer that has to have this smart packaging. If they don't have it, wherever the dispenser it is, there will be new packaging for that consumer. They will have to download the app and pre-charge. And then depends on the category of the product, if they need to sanitize first the packaging and then do the refilling. Today with cleaners and pet food, it's not needed to do the sanitization, but for the next categories that we're developing, it's needed, and we have developed that and patented that solution. And then after refilling, we give them the deposit and the economic incentive to reuse at the same point. And from the other side, we have this today reusable B2B packaging also with Unilever. In different products, it will be reusable or recyclable, depends on the product. But the idea is to also close that loop from the other side. So today, we have been receiving some awards because of what we are doing. And what is most important, what are our plans for the future? We are working and we're designing this as a franchise model, because we understood that the timing is really, really relevant. We have 10 years to solve this globally. And as Algramo as a company, we're not able to scale this on our own. So what we are doing and we are working, we're looking for retailers, brand, and partners in different geographies to implement our solution. Just to give you a quick update from our side, we are doing our Series A investment this year that is going to be of 10 million. For next year, be based in Europe. Actually, we are going to be based probably in Amsterdam, in Netherlands. And we're exploring some relation with some European partners. That's why it's so relevant to be here today. And that we were discussing with Pedro before. We're looking for partners that wants to implement this solution. How this works, we provide the software. The software includes all the users, management, the dispenser. All our dispensers are IoT connected. So we know when we need to do the replenishment, we need to do some maintenance, etc. The hardware, of course, we are providing the technology and the dispensers. Third, the relation with brands if they don't have it. And fourth, all the marketing and user experience. So we want to share this, we want to scale this as aggressive as possible, because we know that this is going to happen with or without Algramo. Refill is coming, we want it or not, because the regulation is pushing us, especially, for example, with after what the European Commission says about the plastic tax and many things that happen around plastic. We know that this is going to happen anyway, and we know that we have a huge chance to be one of the players that we are going to be here. We're building long-term partnership with the big corporate partners like Unilever, Nestle, Coke, and different other partners. But we are still looking for partners in different regions. So it could be a retailer, could be a brand, or even someone that wants to implement this. It's where we're moving into. Actually, in 2 weeks more, we're launching our first pilot in US, in Brooklyn, with Clorox. And that is implemented by one of our investors, that is Closed Loop Ventures. And they're doing building the team, they're implementing the technology. Also, we're exploring another pilot with a Dutch NGO called Enview. Enview has an office in Jakarta, Indonesia, and they want to solve the plastic challenge that they have there. And they're going to use our technology around October. So we're also going to have a pilot there. And personally, a part of the team, we're going to move into Europe because we understand that this is a place to be with this kind of solution today because of the regulation, the users, and the brands. So that's what we're doing today. Sadly, I cannot share more details because with some of the brands, we have some NDAs and that kind of contract. But I'm really too happy to answer some question and start a discussion around how this could scale, how we could switch consumer behavior, having a cheaper solution, and to be implemented in existing supply chains and retailers.
Thank you very much, José Manuel. It was a really inspiring presentation on how technology and innovation can solve some of the main sustainability challenges. You touched environmental, you touched social, cost-effective for the consumer and for the retailer. So great presentation. And it's also great to see you again and see how the project is evolving and scaling so fast and to many regions across the world. That's great to see. And also, as José Manuel said, I think this is the perfect place to establish initial contacts, and anyone interested, we will be very happy to make the bridge between you and José Manuel to start to speak to each other and try to see if we see Algramo in the short term in Portugal. So thank you, José Manuel. Now we have around 20 minutes for questions and answers. Some questions already popping up. So I remember for all the ones present, so you can raise your hand to speak directly to José Manuel, or you either can write the question down on ButPub chat box, and I will read it to José Manuel. So I'll start with an initial question. So in this sort of packaging, do you have any example used for food packaging, more specifically for chocolate?
That's a really good question. Today, actually, one of our partners that we are developing here technology for is for chocolates and candies. Depends, and to be more technical in terms of how's the shape of that chocolate, because we need to dispense on how that flows. So it could be possible with chocolate, could be possible with that kind of product, especially because we have this sanitization station. I would say the most challenging part is always the user. It's not the B2B relation, because you could have standards and applications. It's how you manage the user. With this sanitization station, we are ensuring that the safety of that reusable packaging, and that's allow us to work with different products. One of them actually is chocolate that we are working here in Chile. So it depends again on the shape of that chocolate. So for some of them, it's going to work. For some of them, at least today, it's not working. But also really important to mention that we are not working, and our business is not to sell the dispenser. It's to build this relation with software, hardware, partnership, etc. And for most of our clients or partners, we didn't have the solution in the beginning. So how we work, we challenge them and we ask them, okay, what is the product that you want to dispense? What is the restriction? And we develop that technology for them in co-design. So, for example, now we're exploring something around powdered food. That is quite challenging because of the hygroscopic condition of the product that absorbs humidity. But we're solving that challenge also, and that is going to help us to scale up the portfolio of product that we could dispense. But I would say that everything is possible. This is not rocket science, to be honest. It's just to invest time and team and effort to be aligned with the standards that the company needs. And that's how we define ourselves, that we are the partner of the brands to reach their needs and the quality standards.
Okay, thank you. And Susana Fonseca from the NGO Zero asks, in terms of data privacy, you mentioned that information is shared with the brands. What kind of information is shared? Important question.
Sorry, I was reading the chat, but I wasn't paying you. Because distracted me.
Sorry. So in terms of that privacy, you mentioned that information is shared with the brands. What sort of information?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. No, first of all, there's a huge regulation around data, especially in Europe. Everything that is shared is in aggregate way, and some insights. Actually, no, I cannot show you now, but we're sharing, for example, heat maps, real-time information of consumption, not based on the user, based on the mass of the users, but also we design our platform to be as a marketing platform to increase loyalty on the consumers. And actually today, Unilever is able to send some specific promotion to users based on their consumption habits. So for example, we're selling laundry detergent and dish soap, and we have some clients that are purchasing just one of them. And now, for example, Unilever could decide, I want to send an offer only to the even millennial female consumers that live here and they're purchasing just detergent, send an offer on dish soap. So we're building our technology or platform around that, because part of our business also is to bring insights and useful information to the brands to make more smart decisions based on marketing.
Okay, thank you. So Anne Henriques from also another NGO, ANP, asks that you mentioned retailers and supermarkets in your presentation. Do you think it could also be extended to restaurants, your solutions?
Yeah, and actually, totally. Depends on the product. For example, on beverages, we are working currently with restaurants, and we're working with campuses. We're even working with the metro here in Santiago. And depends on the product, is where do you want to find it? So for example, I don't know, at least myself, I'm not gonna purchase detergent on a metro station, but I could get a soft drink on a metro station. So the restaurant would fit with some of their products, and we're working currently with some restaurant, with some beverages and solution.
Okay, so I have another question from Susana Fonseca from Zero. Do you see the need for some changes in regulation to scale up these kind of initiatives, or it basically depends on the interest of brands and retailers? And the second question, have you done some studies on consumer perception of these kind of solutions, what they value, what are the potential barriers?
Yeah. First, in terms of regulation, I think that always could help to push a little bit more the brands or retailers to do more, to risk more. But with current regulation, actually based on Ellen MacArthur Foundation numbers, at least 20% of the product could be on refill or on reuse. So the market that we have today available is huge. Think just on all the cleaners, pet food and beverages, all of them you could do refill today. So that market is huge, but also some regulation around the responsibility of the consumer on their packaging could be useful. Many brands, they don't want to do anything related with refill because they are responsible of the quality of the product, even someone else is bringing the packaging. Actually, that's why we developed the sanitization station. So that also could help, but today there's enough space to push this on scale really aggressively. And in terms of the perception of our customers, depends on the socioeconomic and the income of that user. Some of our clients are using it because of the environmental impact, and they love to reuse the packaging. But some others, they're using it, to be honest, more based on the price and the flexibility to purchase what they need. So today we're offering the same price per liter, like in a gas station, to everyone. So today, the one and the families that are purchasing a little of this soap is paying the same cost per liter than the high income families. And they're doing this system that for them, it's this 40% cheaper, 50% cheaper, because we're comparing the small presentation with the biggest one, and they're paying the same price per liter. So depends on the geography and on the approach. But the good thing about Algramo, that is solving both at the same time. So even the millennial hipster is paying less, or even the low-income people, it's saving plastic. Even maybe that's not the first reason to use this system, but it's all mixed, and that's what is good about Algramo. But I would say that those are the two main approaches of this.
Okay, thank you. So we still have around 10 minutes. If there is any more questions, while we wait for more questions, if there are, I would like to ask you,
Sure.
for people not so acquainted with smartphones, let's say elder people, how you manage your relationship with them?
Yeah, that's a really good question. First of all, at least in Chile, the penetration of a smartphone, we have more smartphone than people in Chile. That's one thing, but that doesn't mean that if you have a smartphone, you use them to purchase. So maybe you could have a smartphone, but you're not using it. The Algramo solution also could be pre-charged with cash. So you could go how you pay your electric bill, you could pay Algramo and charge Algramo. And that automatically it's linked with your packaging. Actually, you don't need to go through the app to do that. Because how this works, when you put for the first time the packaging, asks you your registration name, and that is linked with your account that you're paying. So just once you need to roll into the system, but then you can pre-charge with cash and then just purchase directly from the packaging. So the app is more for asking the tricycle to come home and see the plastic impact of your purchase. But if you have this solution in a retailer, for example, you don't need to use even the app. The app then is going to tell you how much plastic you're saving, what is your balance, but you could do that also in person with cash in the retailer.
That's great. Thanks. I have another question from Susanna. Could you please explain a little better how you stimulate consumers to use your service and to bring their packaging back? How much is the deposit, for instance? And thank you for the great presentation.
Thanks, Susanna. It's a really interesting question. Today, I would say that the first thing is we are the most convenient price. I would say that's the first reason that why people is using our system. And why people is bringing back the packaging. First of all, they are saving the cost of having and paying a new packaging. That's one thing. But also we are giving this deposit that today, to answer your question, in laundry detergent, we are giving them around 10%, between 8 to 10% deposit into the packaging. I think that this is something that could be studied and have a paper around what is the right number to give enough incentive to bring back the packaging. To give you another example, with our own white label product, when we start this with Algramo in Chile, we were giving also, and it is interesting because it's also around 8 to 10%. So I would say that should be, at least based on our experience, something related with that. Each time that you're bringing back the packaging, you are saving that amount of money. That always, if you analyze just once, it's not that much money. But if you're doing on every 2 weeks or every month, you will understand that, okay, you're wasting money if you're not reusing. So in our context and based on our experience, it's something between 8 to 10%. Maybe it's less, and we haven't reduced that number, but we are working around that.
Okay, thank you. There's still time for one more or two more questions. I don't know if anybody has one. So far, we don't have any more questions. So yeah, I think it was quite impactful, and you explained it pretty well, Jose.
And also to mention, Pedro, you have my contact. If anyone wants to connect with me, I'm really open, especially that we're building the relation with Europe. So I'm really happy to connect and see if there's something that could be interesting for any of you. So thanks again for the invitation, for the questions. I think this is something that is going to happen, it's going to come. and we need to be prepared with the best tools that we could have. So I'm really happy to share this.
Thank you very much, Jose. It was a pleasure to have you here, and for sure we will share with everyone interested your contact. I believe after this presentation there will be a lot of organizations here today that would be interested in talking to you and with your innovative business model and approach to business. So thank you very much once again, and I'll switch just a bit for Portuguese.
Yeah, sure. No worries.
Okay. Obrigado a todos pela vossa presença hoje em mais uma sessão da Semana Reuse. Amanhã terminamos a Semana Reuse com o webinar Futuro Reutilizável pela Larissa Copelo, da Zero Waste Europe. Obrigado a todos e pronto, vê-los outra vez amanhã. Muito obrigado e boa tarde. José, thank you very much. Gracias.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.